All right. Looks like we're live. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Phantom Zone, YouTube's nearly only all Superman show that comes out on a tri-weekly basis or around there.
Yeah.
Welcome, as always, to my co-host, my partner in crime, Tim, the comic collector. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. What's up, everybody?
Oh,
And I'll introduce our special guest. I think we started pretty close to the same time. I've been a fan of them, since we kind of come across each other. It's the first time doing something together, but we, comment in the comments to each other. This is Mr. Comics 89. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. So
Part of why I was always a big fan of him, your two big loves are Superman and Spider-Man. And I think when you first started, you was doing a lot of Superman, and that's what drew me in. And then you really went on a ASM kick.
Yeah.
And you have some amazing Spider-Man stuff. Don't you have a page from AF-15 or something like that?
Yeah, it's over here in my closet. Yeah, I have a single graded page of AF-15 because a cover list copy is, by itself is still $8,000 or so. And while I would love to have a full, complete one, I thought I just want to own a piece of it, kind of like owning stock in Apple or whatever. I just wanted a piece of it, and so I found something for like $360. It was it was a mummy story on that, and I can actually open up my facsimile and point it out to it. But yeah, so I bought it for her, so I have a single graded page of it, so I own it. I can pull up the label. It says AF-15 on the cover, and so it's really, really cool. And what I laughed at myself was if I bought every other page for the same price that I bought that page for, I would basically assemble it for about the same price I would get for a real one. So I
It's just like
required.
a graded read-through copy.
Yeah.
But
No
yeah,
staples.
I agree with you, man. Like owning a page it's just as good because of the sentimental value. But you look at the real prices of stuff, it's like real book 10 G's, facsimile 8. Like I'll take the facsimile.
Yeah, so I got the 9.8, facsimile of AF-15 that I can display and have on there and go,
Exactly.
I didn't spend $30,000 for that.
It's like I don't have AF-15, but I have a house.
Yeah, but yeah, I started on Spider-Man, on Superman, because that's what I was as a kid. As Superman, the guy, he could fly, he was super strong. Being a guy, he had X-ray vision, and I could spend so much time, go girls' locker room going. But so that was just my love there, and so it was like I could think I worked it out to where it was the ideal as a kid, perfect, this perfection that you just want to be, just the dream you can never have, but you didn't realize. And then Spider-Man was what I realized is life, is, adult, is kind of thing, is realistic. If take away the spider powers, you got a real life. You got the struggles and the responsibility and all that other shit. So it just do that. So yeah, I have my little bit of Marvel, a little bit of DC. I still collect all Superman stuff, but I'm not going after completed run like Amazing Spider-Man. So it's still part of my core, but it's not the drive going forward. So
what brought you into Superman? Like, what was your first story or your starting point with him?
I mean, I think the starting point ultimately growing up was the Superman TV show as a kid. Adventures of Superman, and seeing that was really cool. Just it was really cool just watching the episodes and watching that. I remember like Parasite Superman going, "This is really cool." Just the cartoon and the graphics, just really, really cool. And so it was just what it was there. But I think the story that really drew me in was, part of the reason why we picked this comic or got this comic was the death of Superman. That whole story arc there has always been my single probably favorite story arc in all of comic books. Still is the death, world without, and reign of Superman. Just that whole story there. In fact, when this came out,
Wow.
I got the omnibus so I can have the incomplete story, and I actually read through it. I mean, I'm going, it's missing a few things here or there because it's not 100%, but it's still 98% of what's there. And so I'm just like looking, like, this thing is heavy as fuck. I gotta read faster. So,
oh man, it's amazing. I've had a few people on this show, and the fanboys. You talk about Superman. It's amazing how many people came in at the death of Superman.
yeah,
Because that was sort of my first comics too.
yeah. She calls me her Superman, so that's the thing. So she's like, I didn't die.
Oh, my daughter was holding this because I have the trade to read through tonight. It was too hard to get to my single issue, and she picked it up and opened it to the death page. And she's like, "Why is she crying?" I'm like, "Superman died." And
Yeah.
she looks up at me and goes, "Superman died?" Like I just rocked her world right there.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things there is just like this guy who's invulnerable, invincible, always finds a way to win. Dies. He gives his all, and he wins, but it costs him everything if it's temporarily. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I love the story so much. This guy literally gives it his all, and is like, that's all you can ask of anyone is to give it their all. So it touches you in an emotional core in that regard. So that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. So I'm going to put you on mute for about 5 seconds so I can stir this without making noise.
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from with Superman now. Started a couple years ago, really. Some stuff with my daughter and stuff. I've got videos for all that stuff. If anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, these days, just reading through any of the Superman run at any point, it's awesome to me. Like every issue's awesome in that. Yeah, it's just he just tries to bring out the best in everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the Brian Michael Bendis. I liked it at the beginning, but I've fallen off a bit with it on the current stuff here. But it's like I'm still like every once in a while I'm like going, should I still want to spend money on this bad story?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to complete a run of Action Comics, and I'm not going to complete a run of Superman because those books are a lot more, expensive and a lot more of them. But I'm like, I've been collecting a complete run as it is of when I started getting those books, and so I haven't really missed one of those. But it's like the couple of stories is like going, I don't know if I should be buying this anymore. I should take a break. Wait for Bendis to leave.
If Bendis, he pulls you in, like you feel like the story's going somewhere, and then you get 4 or 5 issues down the road and you're like, nothing ever happens. Especially like Leviathan. It was called Event Leviathan, but it wasn't really an event. It was just people standing around in the dark talking.
Yeah, I mean that story I didn't, the Leviathan thing, I'm just like, the only thing cool about that was Red Cloud. I like that Red Cloud character, and I couldn't quite define her and all that, but somehow she was essentially being kind of air. She could fight Superman in a way that can't be touched. And so I was like going, okay, I can see this person's incredibly dangerous aspect, and that's what I like. But it's like, what else is to this story? So it's like,
yeah. I was talking with Tim earlier this week. I've just recently caught up. I've hopped on and hopped off Bendis so many times that I've had gaps in the story. So I have gone back and collected both Action and Superman from basically Man of Steel, the mini. And I had texted Tim earlier last week and was just like, nothing is happening in Action Comics. Like I've read like 5 issues and nothing is happening.
Yeah, the whole he reveals the secret identity of the world. I'm like, oh, don't do that. This is gonna change the story in a way I don't like it. And so far I've been right.
Well, and they just did that. Like, just did it in New 52. Like, why do it again this quick? I don't know if you read this, Matt, but Batman Superman's probably the best Superman title going.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is a new issue.
I bought the first one when it was rebooted, but otherwise I only have, say, 15 or so issues of the older one, around the first 20, I guess, with Supergirl and all that,
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. Otherwise, and the Apocalypse fight, no, Darkseid fight on Apocalypse. And otherwise, I don't really. Yeah, so it's like I try and be, I guess, narrow in my focus, because if I get too broad, I can't stop. Like I got Superman Action Comics, Green Lantern, Flash, this, and I have to get every single issue, and my wallet's going, no, quit the torture.
So speaking of that, what is your focus or your goal in collecting Superman?
I mainly get it's around. I like the cover, it seems to be what half things boil down to. I'm like, okay, that's a cool cover, or that's a cool era, or every once in a while it's like, okay, that's a $5 book. That seems like a cool cover and a not bad story, But otherwise, it just seems like, oh, minor key here, minor key here. I'll kind of grab it, but otherwise, the stuff that's not big, I kind of leave alone. Like there was one Action Comics in the early or mid 300s. Superman and Lois Lane are seeing a ghost, or Lois Lane seeing a ghost and Superman seeing something. It's like they're back in Smallville somehow or whatever. And so that was just that's an interesting cover. She's scared. She's telling Superman to save her from this ghost, and he can't see anything. I want to see what this story's about. So, back when covers actually told you a lot of what the story was.
Right.
So,
and now they don't tell you anything.
I'll read this book, but I'm not going, oh, I have to buy the next 10 issues to see where this is going. It's like going, okay, that's good. It's cheap and I can afford it, and it's not big too. Things like, this here, I love the story arc. I had to get every single issue. In fact, books like this, oh, it's $5. I'll buy every single one of these that I come across in person. I have like 4 number ones, 2 number twos, number 3. I'm missing 4 or 5. I have the white bagged or the red bagged or whatever. I don't have the platinum one, kind of thing. So I'm basically trying to get every single issue or printing of Death of Superman. That's in that sense, I'm trying to get every single issue collected. But otherwise, if it's not a certain book, I'm not driven obsessively like I am to collect Amazing Spider-Man 1 through current. So
you're not going hard after the Superman Red and Blue arc?
No, I'm just going after occasional books here or there. Like I said, Superman will always be, my past and who I am, and the core of, if you take away Superman, then my comic collecting is not the same. I wouldn't be the same collector. I wouldn't be the same person. But it's not the adult reality, I'm living with. So
Right. So Spider-Man's your current, got to get them all kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Spider-Man has got to get them all in Amazing Spider-Man, and Superman is I get them here or there. It depends on the issue, depends on my wall, depends on the mood. But it'll always be who I am, and I'll never get rid of it entirely because it's important to me in that regard. So
sure.
So do you collect all of the Spider-Man runs, like Spectacular and all that, or are you just focusing on ASM?
I'm focusing on ASM. I get occasional Spectacular or things like that. Like I wanted the whole Kraven's Last Hunt story arc, and that splits, Spectacular and all that stuff. So I had to get other issues. Otherwise, it's like, oh, that's a cool cover too. It's the same thing with Superman. I like the cover. It's a minor key. I'll get it, kind of thing. But I'm not driven obsessively for it. Although I am thinking about going into collecting the entire the run of Ultimate Spider-Man, which is kind of funny since it's Brian Bendis on that. But I actually like that story. So. But
yeah.
So it's like, he needs to go back to Spider-Man. I liked him on Spider-Man. Leave Superman alone. He's just ruining Superman.
I think he likes creating his own little universe because that's sort of what he did with his Wonder Comics label in DC.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so I collected it. I read because I got into comics really late. My whole thing in childhood, my whole thing growing up was Garfield and Sunday morning papers. And otherwise, a few, graphic novels here or there, like in the library. It wasn't until, 2 years ago in my late 20s that I actually got into comic books in that regard, because I was getting my LCS, the local one, is started out as a tattoo shop. They had extra space, and the owner got into his idea from someone else selling comic books. Extra money there. And so I just saw comic books there and just didn't think of it because I stop in, every month or so just to say hi to my friends. And I was getting my tattoo over here of my family crest touched up. And the door's open and I'm just staring out into the hallway. And the shelf I'm staring at is where they had the graded comic books. And I kept on staring at, Action
nice.
Comics 687, 9.2. And I'm going, I love that cover. That's just the green and the red. It's just like, oh, that's just, I don't know. Just like, I like it. Just made me happy because it's like, oh, Christmas colors. I like that and all that. And I just kept on staring at that and all that. And, for about 4 hours, I got my tattoo touched up and worked on. And I thought, well, I'd actually kind of like to have that, but I don't want to spend the money on it because I couldn't because I just got a tattoo. I didn't have the extra money. And so I'm probably going to leave. It's going to get sold tomorrow and I'm never going to see it again. But I came back like 2 weeks later. It was still there. I had the money and I'm going to buy it. It's only, I think it was like $70 or so or whatever. And so like I bought it and I'm going, it's comic books. They're not like tattoos. I'm not going to get addicted to it. One and done. I'll be good. And
famous last words.
Yeah. But I have the first appearance of the last Son of Krypton of Superman and all that. Going like, I really should have the first appearance of the other guys in the book. The Cyborg Superman, Superboy, and Steel, along with the Death, number 75, 75. I should have those 5, that way it'd be perfect along the wall, very pretty and all that. So I was like going, okay. And then, okay, I come in every Wednesday. I want this book and I want this book. And so, yeah, it started out Action Comics and Superman. Those were the 2 titles I bought and nothing really else other than occasional comic until Reggie Collects and his passion for Spider-Man kind of got onto me and I found my love for him in my own way, and then it swapped from 98% DC to 98% Marvel, where the only thing I get from DC is Superman and the occasional I like that cover. So.
Yeah, I kind of flipped throughout life as well. I started 90% Marvel, 10% DC, and now I'm 90% DC and 10% Marvel.
Yeah, so I tried chasing. I tried getting that 9.8 Superman 75, but it kept on slipping away from me in the auction, so I had to settle for a CGC 9.6, or whatever that I bought outright, kind of thing. And so for the longest part there, so that was what I had. So, and so it was like going back, I kept on staring, going, it's staring at me. It's saying I'm not the 9.8. So,
oh man, that's really impressive. I didn't know you've only been collecting for a couple of years. You've amassed quite a big collection.
Yeah, like I said, I tend to when I get a new passion and a new hobby, I tend to jump off the high dive into the deep end of the pool with an anchor attached to my foot.
Right.
So I'm not coming back up, so don't make me.
It's funny. It's one thing to collect comics hardcore, but then you get on YouTube, and I feel like it almost enables you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how many times I've said something to my wife, like, "Well, I got to buy this for the show." So.
Yeah, because according to my CLZ app, I have 2.3, 2.4, thousand comic books, or so it's over 2,000 and all that. So, but yeah, it grew. So now it's, like I said, mostly Marvel and mostly Spider-Man. So it's just occasional. I have managed to trim things down. I don't get the Avengers title anymore because I had to cut costs somewhere to get more, to start trying to focus on ASM. So I cut that and I cut this book, so because I had a few issues of Flash that I was getting going. So I cut Flash, I cut, Avengers. And so I just started narrowing down my focus back to my base, back to my Superman and Spider-Man and leaving it there. Yeah, well, I'm a big druggie. You only have a problem if you admit it.
Exactly.
Well, here in St. Louis, as we mentioned on other videos and on our feed, we Tim and I have our own sugar daddy or our own
Yeah.
pusher in this STL Comics that we go to. That's 90% dollar books, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
And even his wall books, like he'll have awesome wall books and just give you such great prices. Like when we met up the other day, I was checking out and just it's like, you see anything you like? And I'm like, well, what's up with that question? And he's like, oh, that's the first Rorschach in a continuity. It's only $15 and it's a 30% off sale. It's like, okay. Mylard and everything, just that quick, a wall book.
Yeah, so yeah, and it doesn't help when you have friends on Instagram going, "Hey, send me a list of the books that you need in your ASM run and all that." So I'm trying to okay, here's the updated list of what I need. You know, a week later, I need to save money this week. I got little bills coming up. Hey, I found this book, this book, this book, this book. Send them my way. Send them my way. Damn it.
So before we move into the review, a non-Superman related question, because I remembered hearing you talk about this on one of your lives I was at, and I don't remember the exacts. I want to say you said you had the first 5 Spider-Man. So it's like a double question. What was the 5 you had in a row in the early, and how is your ASM run coming? Like you about halfway, a third?
I have Amazing Spider-Man #1. It has a facsimile cover because I bought it coverless. And I bought it. It was great. Actually bought. Well, I'll explain in a little second there. But I bought it coverless and all that. Then I have #2, which is actually my second copy because I had to sell the original #2 I had because we had emergency bills come up. My wife lost her job for a month, and I had to cover her bills, and so I had the valuable comics to do it. So I got #2, #3, #4, and #5 of ASM. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9 of the first 10. So I'm missing 6, 7, and 10 of the first 10. So I'm doing pretty good there. And as far as the run and whole, I believe if my math is correct, I have 70 to 75% complete collection of Amazing Spider-Man. And last month or the month before was my 2 years on YouTube.
Wow.
You know, running so that way. So I've done huge amount of
that's really impressive.
ground gained in 2 years. So
wow.
I mean, it helps. I go on occasional bins where I come back with 50 plus books, you know,
Right.
I got here. So then it
awesome.
helps build the number.
So do you read them?
Yeah, I read all the ASM books that I get, you know, and all that, and some books that I go like, I'm struggling with Bendis and Superman now, so I'm like,
we all are.
Yeah.
Even the most hardcore fans.
He didn't write the pictures.
Right.
But yeah, I try and read all the books that I get. You know, and you know, if it's not, like I said, I put them in a little folder or a little container or whatever here that I basically go through in order that I got to whatever, so it goes to the back of the line, and so I try and read books here. So like new comic book day comes and I buy 4 books, then I take those books with me to work in a little protective case or whatever, and then during my lunch break I'm going, you know, and then going back to work, and so I squeeze the time in that way. So
man, you could actually complete this run. Like it ain't just I mean, I know everybody might have a pipe dream, but like you're really close to it.
Oh no, yeah, I'll do it. I'm about to, but once I get occasional, I figure I'm about a good couple months away from hitting a serious slowdown, because then once I get the lot of books out of the way, now I'm down to, all right, I need Amazing Spider-Man 80, so I need to spend $30 on that. I need Amazing Spider-Man #40, so I need to spend $100 on that. You know, so I can no longer get books for $3 to $8 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's affordable. Now it comes down to, okay, here's the one new ASM book. You know, I have to slow down to, okay, here's my Amazing Spider-Man haul book of the week that I got.
Yeah. Monthly hauls instead of weekly.
Yeah, I'll have to make like a countdown show of some kind of whatever, going like my Amazing Spider-Man chasing completion or whatever, and here's the episode unboxing.
You're doing aren't you doing 365, like a book a day on Instagram?
Yeah, or 366. Yeah, that was the
366.
Stay Puff 1984 or whatever was doing. It was, I think he's currently in 200 and something. But yeah, I'm going like, oh, that sounds like fun. I think and I decided after like a month or so of watching him do this, I'll do that. But I wanted to wait until my 2-year anniversary basically and start the day of or the day after. And so I can end basically right at 3 years again, or right, give or take a day. So that's why I waited there. So yeah, I'm currently on day 40. I just released Amazing Spider-Man 136, Harry Osborn's appearance as the Green Goblin, or the second Green Goblin. So that was the book I released today. So
It's awesome.
yeah, that was a tough list because I actually created, not to go on a side fact again, but I had to going, well, I have so many ASM books, I'm going to create the list. So I'm writing down 366 and going, Amazing Spider-Man, this, and I'm going.
So you ain't doubling it, yeah.
I see them going like, oh crap, I'm running into the 200s now. What, so like, I'm gonna have to do a modern book here. This one just came out. Amazing Spider-Man 850.
So one more question before we get into the review, just something I'm interested in. I know we went off topic on Superman, but in your run of ASM, what's like the one big grail or that one book that would the big hurdle book, I guess you could say, still out there?
Well, if I think I narrowed it down. I mean, I have a couple of books, I guess, that because the way my collection is going, I have some books that are reprints or like True Believers that I'll get a complete run, but it's not 100% complete. To use Harry Potter terms, it's like a half-blood collection because I need to replace a True Believer copy with the actual copy. But if I had a single book I'm chasing or that I want more than anything right now, it's probably Amazing Spider-Man 129, the first appearance of Punisher kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one book of ASM that I really, really want above all else, kind of a thing, it'd probably be that one. Because I just feel like since I have 1 through 5, I have a couple other things like the first appearance of the Green Goblin, the first appearance of, I got first appearance of Venom, first appearance of, so I have a bunch of keys and all that. So now it's just like, well, I'm not going to call ASM 7 a grail quest just because it's a single digit,
Right.
But it was Spider-Man 129, 121, or 6 would be the big 3 books that I gotta have my eyes on. Death of Gwen Stacy, First Lizard, and First Punisher, just to have them and all that. But it's like I don't know if I'll ever really get my hands on a real 129 for a long time.
Let me give you a tip. There's a guy on Instagram called Chase My Cards.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then he does a chase for a 129. He just seems to have a bajillion. That's how Comic Fu won one.
Yeah.
A 129. And I think it's like $20 or something. You get one ASM and you're chasing that 129. That'd probably be your best bet to get one cheap. And also, I don't consider having facsimiles in there as cheating because unless you're rich, you just can't spend thousands of dollars to complete a run. So.
Oh yeah, and that's another reason why I'm completing Amazing Spider-Man, not Action Comics or Superman, because like I said, those books are. But yeah, I don't consider it cheating either. I can, like I said, I would once I get 1 through 800, 1 through current, I consider it a complete collection. It's just like I said, I just it's like using Harry Potter terms. It's not a pure blood collection. It's a half blood or a mud blood collection. It's not the pure. I'll eventually get a pure ASM collection where it's all the first, there of it, but or kind of thing, but it's not right now. Like ASM 101, first Morbius. I hate the first print. I don't like the color. I have the second print where it's more silver and blue. I'm like, that's gorgeous. That's pretty. I'm never going to get the first print. I like that one.
Yeah. See, that's all that really matters is it's your collection. And if you're happy with it, you know what I mean? That's all that matters.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
So having him on as a guest, we let him pick the book we're going to review tonight. He picked Superman 75, which I'm sure everyone knows.
Death of Superman. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So who wants to start off, or we don't necessarily have to go page through page. We could just talk about
Well,
what we like about it.
well, what I noticed, or what I didn't notice until someone like I've watched a YouTube video about the story and all that, was how you went to bigger and bigger panels, as the death, arc went on, to where now you got basically single, big pages, not just 4 or 5 little storylines there. So it's like it's subliminally telling you that this is getting higher and higher stakes or whatever. It's more and more important. You're putting so much detail into single pictures on a page, not splitting it up and making things hard to see. But yeah,
I don't think I've ever read a comic before that I can remember. Like the entire comic is basically splash page after splash page.
Right.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I was reading it, I also have a version, as well as all the individual issues. That's when I was reading it the first time, and I got to the very last issue. I noticed, 3 or 4 pages in, I'm like, wait a minute, these are all single page splash pages. They could be essentially pinups. Like each one could be its own pinup. But what you just said, as I'm flipping through the collected version, like you're absolutely correct. Like as I'm flipping through, the major panels are getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you go.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just Doomsday himself as a bad guy or a villain or whatever, you just seen him because he's chasing him for the countryside. Now he's in town or in the city, and he's struggling at the same time to take him down and do as little damage as possible to keep people safe and all that. So it's really just the whole story. Watching him fight and all that is just he's tying with one arm tied behind his back. He's trying to protect people, and so you can't. But so at the same time, he's not using his full strength because he can tear the city up by himself without even trying. So it's really hard to put that balance in there. I mean, he's like more and more he has to figure out that he needs to put something into it. This is a villain that he can't, or a bad guy that he's just not hurting. It's just like, and he's getting, his costume's being torn up. He's bleeding. His hair is out of whack now. It's no longer freshly, like it was. So he's just more and more. He's just, you're seeing bruises appear over his eye, and just like you're not used to seeing Superman hurt human.
Right.
This is a guy that could lift the world on his shoulders and not be bleeding.
That's something I noticed too. The very first page, he's like in this. Mm-hmm. He's got a headlock on Doomsday, and you can see Doomsday's chin is cutting his arm as he's doing it. Yeah. Imagine like if you hadn't read the story, you just picked up this issue, I'd imagine that would catch you off guard. Like he's cutting Superman that easily.
Yeah. And the whole, what's the scene here? Because you can tell here, like I said, the emotion that's there, like here's what he's fighting for and all that. So even in this drop down brawl, you see real emotion of what he's fighting to protect. And then the very next page, you see the Inferno light up, and he is going for blood now.
Right.
He has, and it's just, because as Jimmy says, wow, I don't think I've ever seen a big guy so fired up, Yeah. But this is just like, all right, that's it. Now you're dead.
I think Doomsday is such a great villain too. I mean, I wasn't around on forums or nothing, or YouTube to talk about it. But it just seemed like for a new character to come in and do this to Superman, he was pretty well accepted. Like people like Doomsday, which just as far as the writing and planning for this go, I just think is excellent. It's just they picked a perfect character. Probably my favorite scene of this book when they're in front of the Daily Planet and the commentary's talking about their blows or just blowing windows out, the impacts.
Right.
Yeah. It just really drives home like these are two heavyweight. Superman is fighting a guy, and it's, this guy's holding his own with Superman, how that would affect the people watching.
Yeah, the very next page, or not the next page, but a few days later or whatever, when they're about to exchange their final blow, you see pretty much every single window with a, sound effect, kind of thing. Just this a shock wave blew out every window within a vibration's distance.
Have you guys watched the animated version, the second one?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I have both versions, but yeah, the current one here, yeah, the most one of the one like I really like that because you can see Doomsday had more of a mind in that one.
Yeah.
And all that, so you can see, and I don't see these things very well until I watch like director's commentary. But you see, he's talking about how when he meets Doomsday or when the first punch there, and you see like Superman's feet shifting a little bit, and Doomsday his eyes or his face making him whatever like this is going like this isn't like before. We have to do something different, and then in the fight devolves into using objects, anything to slow down. Superman hitting him with a metal, or not metal, I think it was a cement column, like with a baseball bat in the movie, and just like, yeah, I really like that movie. I mean, I like the first one too. It was not as good, obviously. I mean, it was compared to the first one, it was a joke. The second one was a joke, sorry. But I liked it because it was a complete story. I didn't have to have two different movies and all that, and it was a little, I don't know, not it was a complete here's the story in video. Obviously, it's a artist interpretation kind of a thing, but it's still good to do. And walking cheese, yeah. Yeah, considering his bones and his claws goes all the way through. Yeah, and I mean, maybe they made him a little too powerful because, like I said, in the Doomsday, Superman Doomsday, the Hunter Prey, that 3-book thing, that the only way to really stop Doomsday was they put him at the end of time, at the moment of, destruction kind of thing. That was the only thing that could stop him because his story was like killed and brought back, and everything that killed him could no longer hurt him anymore. So you're creating a perfect killing machine. There's no, if it goes on too long, there's literally nothing in the known existence that could defeat him. So the only way is time.
There's been some crazy interpretations of Doomsday, like a Doomsday where his protruding bones are kryptonite, stuff like that. Like,
yeah, but in the back to the comic book, I like the whole thing was really cool and all that, but and then his interaction with Lois Lane and all that, like I'm doing this for you, is what really gets me there. But then my favorite thing at the very end is right at the very end when they're no longer talking. It's the narration boxes and all that. Before, I got to do this in one last punch. One last thing I got to put away while I still can. And yeah, you're talking about like every, it's like wary boxers who have gone the distance. The combatants collide in one last explosive effort. And then yeah, just that whole scene there. You need something real quick?
Yeah, the fleet member stuff.
It should be it here.
Just need to find my I'll try this. Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, but yeah, just the whole thing there, and just those who call him son, friend, raised him through the valley of life, friends who realize they are just too late, and all that, and then just for this too late, for this is the day that a Superman died. It was just like, even though I knew the story was there, and I came to Superman after the whole early 90s, publicity of the death of Superman kind of thing. And so I know he's back and he's not really dead, but reading that story, seeing that thing, is just going like, he's actually dead. What the hell?
yeah.
And the whole triple gate thing here.
All right.
Was really cool. And all that.
It's rare. I mean, this sort of started it, but it's rare that a company does right by a character, and sort of, because I mean, this was sort of a publicity stunt. You know what I mean? To draw people in, but they did it right. And it's sort of like almost every story from every company or whatever that came after, doesn't do it right, in my opinion. And I always gush over the story when I talk about it, so I'm gonna say something negative about it. The one negative thing I could pull out of the story, one negative thing, they mention, I think Superman says something to Lois like he's already took out the JLA, and I think maybe in the narration it says the world's greatest heroes are down. Let's be honest, Doomsday beat up, and I love these characters, he beat up Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. He didn't go through the world's greatest heroes to get to Superman.
I didn't realize until afterwards. Yeah, he beat up the D list of
Yeah.
League. All right, everyone else is in the wind. We need a Justice League. Any volunteers?
Yeah, and I love
Fine.
those characters.
Fine.
That
That's-
Justice League is some of the best stories out there. But let's be honest, if saying that, I had to stretch to try and find something negative to say. But
Well, that was always my problem reading through it as well, and I suppose it is addressed in like the funeral and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
as I'm reading it, I'm like, where is Batman and where's the Flash?
Yeah.
Like
yeah, and Green
Like,
Lantern and all
they
that.
they could have all handled potentially Doomsday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone's occupied somewhere else doing something else. But yeah, these, like I said, just early on, it was the death, the Return of Superman, World Without, and when I found it, the Wedding and Beyond kind of thing. That was my Superman stuff before I collected comics. It was these graphic trades put together and all that. In fact, this is probably the first one I really got after the whole story arc here, the Return of Superman, whatever, from right after, basically right after the funeral and all that. In fact, the funny thing is, it starts with, kind of the Eradicator kind of thing there too, around there. So real close after there. But yeah, this whole thing here was basically my starting and all that. I did a few trades, and it was, like I said, only of my favorite story arc. I didn't go into comics too much, or if anything, it was I like the story arc. I like the character. That's what I had. I was into other reading. I wasn't into comic books at the time. So,
Right.
but yeah, but
So
sorry.
sort of talking about like where the other heroes were. Have either of you read the Tales from the Dark Multiverse Death of Superman?
Yeah, I have the that one where Lois Lane's the Eradicator and all that. I'm feeling like,
Right.
I like this. I dig this. I'm into this. It's going because I can feel her pain and all that, and I'm drawn so much into this character. I'm going like, I want to put my hand on your shoulder, going, he comes back.
Just when we were mentioning like where's the other heroes, it reminded me of that because that was sort of Lois's reaction at the funeral. Like, where were you? You're all here for the show, but where were you when it mattered?
Yeah, and then and all that, and when she's so into her grief that when he does show back up, she actually is the cause of his death, and he's really truly gone now. So it's like,
Yeah.
damn. It's like this book has so much going for it. It end happily.
Well, it's a dark multiverse book. It ain't gonna end happy.
Yeah.
Okay. No, and he was alive. He had to pay his mortgage. No.
The real reason the Batman Who Laughs is so evil, those mortgage rates.
Yeah. So, speaking of this issue and sort of the effect it had on comics in the world, I brought out a couple things related to that. The Death of Superman first. There was an issue of Wizard magazine that was essentially all Superman related, not specifically Death of Superman, but
That's
the cover.
a great issue.
Yeah, the cover has a nice embossed feel to it. So it's the Superman Tribute Edition. So that's really awesome. Comes with a little collector card. And then at some point, I had gotten the black bagged Superman Death of Superman issue, but there was no way I was going to open it. So I was at a local con, and a guy had a copy for super cheap. So I figured I'd go ahead and pick it up and crack it open. So I thought it might be neat just to kind of go through these for those who may not have seen what was actually in this set. First thing is we have the actual issue with the tombstone cover, and inside it's the standard comic. On the back it has where you can go from here, the funeral for a friend stuff, and then it came with a secondary tombstone card essentially.
Yeah.
And then a set of stamps. Little set of stamps, which, okay, great. Let's see, we got torn out page from the Daily Planet, basically an homage to his last final deed.
I think that little newspaper article there is in that omnibus that I showed you earlier. I think that's one of the reasons there is like the whole things was like when I read that whole thing like a newspaper going, that's cool.
Right. It comes with a giant fold-out poster for the death of Superman. Has all the heroes on it.
Everyone who couldn't show up to the party.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me see real quick if Dr. Fate is in here. I do not see Dr. Fate.
Yeah, I think at that time of DC, I don't know how active he was, how much they were using him then.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Dr. Fate, I like Helmet of Fate's comment down here, and I agree. That's what I like about the Death of Superman movie. It shows the Justice League to try to defeat Doomsday. Like they weren't just off, rescuing some other, people from a flood. They're actually tried and failed, and that the world's mightiest heroes actually failed to stop Doomsday, and that it was only the greatest of all that could bring him down. So that's what I liked about that. They did a good job at putting a real Justice League in a movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And the very last thing that's in there, and perhaps the most poignant of it, is you got Superman Memorial Armband.
I think that's the coolest thing out of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like in person.
Yeah. So I took the hit. I had to know what was in here. I mean, I could have obviously seen pictures of it and known, but I was like, you know what? It's cheap enough. I'll go ahead and buy an extra copy and crack it open.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like I said, I wanted to get every single issue of the Death because, like I said, it's even though I'm hugely into ASM and Spider-Man, Death of Superman 75 is probably my single favorite comic book, just because of what the character means to me, what it meant to me growing up, and what it means to my collecting and person all that. It's probably, it's kind of like you can't run before you walk, and you can't walk before you stand up. So it's like that is the base. That's step one. That is everything that everything else goes away from or grows from. So even though I am ASM all the way, I still have Superman 75 as the pinnacle book for me.
Yeah.
It's even though I said, $100 you can get a graded comic off of eBay, and it's no big deal.
I feel that no matter what you collect, if you love comic books as a medium, maybe you don't even like superheroes, you're into indie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if you love comics, you have to own some Superman just because of who he is and what he means to comics, because he is the original. Without Superman, the industry, this culture around comics would not exist. He started it. So if you love comics, you owe it to yourself to, like you said, go back to the foundation, the base of it.
Yeah,
Check it
that
out.
is. Yeah, Superman really is the birth of superheroes. Before that, you used westerns and suspense and romance stuff and all that stuff. It was Superman that was created, all that. So like I said, I have two Action Comic #1 Loot Crate editions, the facsimile of DC. Kind of thing. So I have one in a graded 9.0 and one that's raw. So I could again read it actual in its entirety and go, well, that's not a bad story, Action Comics #1. And it was actually pretty cool. So
yeah, it was the first thing we reviewed on our first episode of this. We started at the beginning. So
He was a much different hero back then.
Back for one fact, it's not out here, but I do have one Golden Age book of Superman because Spider-Man was Silver Age. So I said, I want one Golden Age book. What do I get? Well, Superman was in the Golden Age, so I need to get Superman. So, okay, do I get Action Comics or Superman? I'll get an Action Comic Golden Age book because Superman was in Action Comics a year before he got his own title in Superman #1. So I got Action Comics. So I think it's Action Comics. I think it's 120, 121, 122, or 123. I can't remember correctly. And it's the issue right before or right after Superman flies for the first time. and all that. Before he was leap and bounds and all that. So it was a 19. It was printed in 1948, and it's a 1.8. Cover was detached and reattached with tape, I think, and all that. And so it's a yellowish kind of cover, but it's yellow gold and all that. But I love it, that. So, and I paid. I don't think it was that expensive. I want to say I paid like 130 or something for it. I don't think or 90 or something. I didn't spend an awful lot. I definitely spent under $200. I know that. So
that's awesome.
But I had a great like going. I will never get a full run like I'm chasing Spider-Man, but I wanted one Golden Age book, and I wanted Action Comics because that was my again the start. And you gotta honor where you come from if you're gonna respect where you go. So
do you have anything special to show off or show at the end of the show?
Yeah, I took it off the wall because it originally was right over here. But I told you before, I bought the book. The Superman 75 graded 9.6 was one of the first 5 books I got because, like I said, I was trying to get the first appearance of all the characters in the Reign of Superman story, including Superman's death, and all that. So it was one of the first 5. But like I said, I missed out on 9.8, and so that was a grail was to get that 9.8, and the pinnacle of it was to get it graded, or was to get it signed by Dan Jurgens. So I sold my 9.6. So I went without it for a while, and I bought Superman 75 9.8 CGC signed by Dan Jurgens, and I love it.
Awesome.
I bought it where it's signed right there. So I said it's not, like I said, not Amazing Spider-Man number 2 or 3 in value, but it is precious to me to have that in that 9.8, to have it signed by the person who created the story that spoke to me so much and all that.
Dan Jurgens is a legend, man. Like I'm finding more and more stuff that he did. He's awesome.
Because like I said, I like him. I like this arc and like what he did above pretty much anything Spider-Man. There's a few Spider-Man stories that compete with this one for my love, but this one always seems to win out on what's most important to me and all that, or the best story I've ever read and all that. It was just this Superman and the whole, the 4 others that were aspects of Superman, but kind of thing, like Steel was the heart, Superboy was, or no, the Eradicator was the pure Kryptonian, no human. Superboy was Superman raised by the Kardashians, and Cyborg was, I forget what the Cyborg represented, but maybe it was just Superman by himself. I don't know, but it was just there. So yeah, so I have all the issues, and eventually I think I will try and get 9.8s of them and all that, just so it can, like I said, so it matches up with that. It becomes linear and all that. But right now that might be a goal for after I complete my ASM run, and I no longer have to, and I'm no longer spending big chunks of money to get books that I'm missing. So it might be one of those things where I go, okay, one goal complete. What next?
You're making me want to go get slabs of them.
Yeah.
Just listening to you talk. Like, I need to get a Golden Age Superman.
I have all of them. I have the first appearance Cyborg Superman with the blue, because I have them all in where did I put it? There it is. Because I have them all. I have the regular cover and the die cut covers.
Right.
These are the only ones I have that are graded. So I have the blue one of Cyborg Superman. It's a 9.6. So again, those things are teasing me. And the one with Steel, I believe, was a 9.0 or an 8.0. And then the one of Superboy and Adventures of Superman was actually one of the first 3 comic books I sent off to CGC to be graded. And back when I didn't know anything going, that looks like a beautiful copy. 7.5. What the? There's an inked fingerprint, and this is a spine tick up the wazoo, and it's like, what did I know? So
okay. I think if I had a Grail, it would probably be the Death of Superman signed by Dan Jurgens 9.8.
Mm-hmm. Because I have it. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Because I have Action Comics 1000, the sketch the sketch, black and white Dan Jurgens wraparound cover, but I also have it in color. That one I have signed. I bought it signed from my LCS for like $30, and it's a back with a green label because again I only did CGC before. It's a 9.6, I believe. So, but I did a lot of Superman Dan Jurgens stuff with covers and all that and things like that. So yeah,
Awesome.
so yeah, that's my story. And like again, I gave you guys a link because, like I said, about a year and a half ago, I did my a 50-minute video of my story that I remembered at the time, and I think I missed a few things talking about it here, or I remembered some stuff I didn't. So I did a video before, basically talking about my journey into comic books, how it all started with Superman. So I thought it was a good video to do one of those days, and maybe I should redo it because this is back before I added music and back before I did a lot of other things. So this is back to just hand live. Hi everyone, how's it going? My room was in a different spot. It was a little bit darker. There's a lot less stuff. Now I'm almost professional in my setup to where I like it, because this is back before where I had a bookcase behind me, football pictures on either side of it. You got a brief view of my wall over here, but you couldn't really see the comics on there. It was just like going, I was definitely green in that regard, so.
Well, you gotta start somewhere, right?
Yep. But yeah, Superman, like I said, I want to show this one real quick. One of the things I like to do is paint, and I did a self-portrait.
That's awesome.
And like I said,
Wow.
I took my two loves and all that, Spider-Man, myself in the outfit, and then Superman there. So like that, I turned what it was into a picture and all that. Still honoring where I came from, and at the same time, where I am currently, which is why I'm wearing the Spider-Man suit, and Superman's behind me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's my story. It might be something, it might just be another one in the bunch, but it's it's my story.
Awesome.
Definitely, it was fun.
Yep.
Well, I will show one thing real quick. This past week, you might have seen it in my haul videos if anyone's watching who has seen my latest haul video. But I picked up the Superman Man of Steel number 75.
Oh yeah.
Which is the death of Mixelplick.
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. And I won't open it now, but it does actually have a similar fold-out back cover as well, in the exact same style as the Death of Superman.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I even have it was definitely interesting. The only thing I didn't really like about Superman, I mean, I liked it in a sense, but I didn't like it is when he turned into that electric blue. Where he was no longer really Kryptonian, he was more electricity. I mean, it was really cool in a different aspect. He had different powers and had to do things a different way. But I was relieved when he went back to his usual self. And I'm like going, oh, he's back. I love you before. I mean, I loved you during this. I love you no matter what. But you didn't make it easy at times.
Yeah, that's the era I'm currently skipping over.
That's the when I first read it, I really disliked it. But then when you sort of learn the legacy of it, I look back fondly on it now and enjoy reading them. But it's easier to enjoy something when you know it's over. Too.
Right.
Like it didn't keep going.
Kind of like Bendis, right?
So,
Yep.
I got two things to show. I know I show them a lot, but when we're doing these issues, you kind of have to. My big grails for the year, because I think they sort of represent my collection really well. I got the Superman 500 Platinum Edition and the number 75 Death Issue Platinum.
Still
Super
jealous.
cool trails. Yeah. I never thought I'd show them off so much, but like through lives, we hit the story so many times,
Right.
like bust them out again.
But yeah, that was actually the first thing I completed in my collection was the Superman this story arc. I mean, before I even went after Amazing Spider-Man, the whole goal, I was going after every single issue of the story arc, including, like I said, the the wedding of Superman and all that. So I have all that stuff, you know. So I have the one Green Lantern that's part of the story arc. I have all that, so I just had to track it down. Like, first I need the list, so I'm looking for it, going like, I need a list of all the issues in the current order. Okay, here is a list, and check as I got them off. So
yeah, I think that was actually my first run into Superman 2 was Death and Reign of Superman.
yeah.
And then I went back to the beginning of Crisis, or right just after Crisis. So that's where I collected post-Crisis up through, I stopped at 1996, but now I'm going into the 2000s and current. So
maybe that's one reason I don't try and get too much into all these arcs for Superman and all that, is because Marvel is solid pretty much on how they do things. I mean, there's the occasional thing that they do once in a while, but it's not a complete remake like it is. You know, you have that one thing where Spider-Man's marriage was erased and things are started over. That's the only thing that you could really relate to. But otherwise, you got Crisis, you got 0 Hour, you got New 52, you got these entire remakes of everything. So it's like, okay, all right, where does Superman fall into things again, and where does this start in the whole issue? I don't know where we are. It's like
Superman's kind of easy if you really follow it, because like the Superman from Crisis Forward, he just wasn't there for New 52, and then he shows back up in Rebirth.
Yeah, so I that's why I'm not one of the reasons why. It's just be a little too complicated to try and chronologically make sense of it, and okay, this is his history, this is his story, but it changes here, and now it's back to here, and then it's over here, and then it's just like, that's why I'm with Superman. I'm like in the moment, but Spider-Man is the whole story.
Right.
It's just easier that way for me. So
awesome. Well, I'd take a minute here to shout out the chat. It's a pretty slow night, but with the way this week has gone, I can't blame anyone for the slow chat. But Helmet of Fate and Glenn, like, thanks for stopping by and thanks for contributing to the conversation. It's been a lot of fun with you guys commenting alongside. And special shout out to Glenn. He made some really nice comments on my last haul video that was Superman related. So that was fun trading comments back and forth with him. So
awesome.
And I do appreciate the invite. It's like I don't get invited on very many channels. It seems like I'm more of a my own world kind of thing. So it's like, going, you mean someone wants me on their channel?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do something with you since I started doing lives, but we're sort of in two different worlds. Like, you're Spider-Man, I'm DC. Yeah. And it just didn't dawn on me, like, wait a minute, like, he loves Superman and I have a Superman show. So
yeah, like I said, I do my occasional Superman and DC, all that like that. But like I said, I'm 94, 95, 98% Marvel. My foot in DC is Superman. And like I said, so I'm always up to talk Superman and all that, and all that. And I can still relate. I can show off a few more books. Like next time I can show off the Action Comics Golden Age book I have or whatever. Or Superman's a little more.
Yeah.
You're definitely welcome back on. Definitely.
Yeah.
So the last thing we like to do is just kind of go around and shout out social media stuff. And if anyone's watching this now or in the future, just most everyone's subscribed to Tim now because he just hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
But everyone go check these guys out, and everyone in the chat, and make sure everyone's subbed up, because this is a community and we like to take care of our own. So I'll just go first real quick. I'm Jason Retrotigo. You obviously know that because you're on my channel, but I'm also on Instagram at Retrotigo as well.
Cool.
And then Matt, if you want to go.
Okay, Matt, Mr. Comics 89, just simple and generic, and 89, the year I was born. So I kind of dated myself. But yeah, I can be found on Instagram, same name as here, just no capital letters. So, but yeah, I'm pretty much there. I don't, so I said I'm a lot there. I do a lot of I'm doing my 366 days of Amazing Spider-Man, or Spider-Man, should I say, because it's not just Amazing Spider-Man for that. But yeah, otherwise I'm just here and there, but mostly Marvel, a little bit of DC, but I do. I collect what I like, and I do what I do, and that's where I do it. So,
Anything coming up this next week on your channel?
not currently. I need to. I do need to record a video for my my collection. You know, I do a couple of videos called My Collection, where I show off periodic books here or there. Like I did Amazing Spider-Man, or I did Superman and all that. I showed off all my Superman books and all that, and all my Static Shock books, or all my Aquaman books, you know, kind of thing. So it's periodically there. Sometimes I have 3 books, and other times I have,
Right.
Yeah.
like I did a special one just on my Amazing Spider-Man collection. I divided up between hundreds. So here's 1 to 100, 101 to 200 kind of. And then next, I think it's on Thursday, I have a show called The Knockout, where I took characters from Marvel and DC, and they matched them up and all that. Like this week here is Thor versus Bishop from X-Men Team Gold and all that, and they're gonna fight there and all that. So sad to say that Superman lost, and both times he was in there. I don't know how.
So I was at one of your lives, I think just like a week or so ago. You had JB and them on, and you were the knockout was Darkseid versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I love that you had a place we could go vote, and you had the two guests arguing it. Who ended up winning that?
Oh, Darkseid.
All right.
Or Darkseid. It was like,
I don't see how Wolverine could win that one.
yeah. Well, my argument was Wolverine would bring backup. He'd bring Krakoa and all the mutants. But because originally I had Superman in round 1. I was arguing another person in round 1, and then I also had Justice League in one of the rounds. And because I can't have a team versus a single player, we had one character from Justice League move forward, and that guy happened to be Superman. Superman had 2 chances to move forward, both of them. So it's like Superman haters.
There just isn't love for Superman anymore, which is a shame.
Yeah, I said that people were more popular, I guess. Darkseid was more popular, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is what I'm.
Well, I'm the comic collector on YouTube, Tim_comic collector on Instagram. I have been doing my DC challenge series. I have another one recorded that'll be up tomorrow, and I started something new today. I've been seeing everyone doing top 10 videos, which is real cool, but I don't buy a ton of like Golden Age or slabs. So I figured, I'm a bargain hunter. I'm gonna do different series on the top 10 dollar books I found of the series, and the first one is Batman Volume 1. So check that out if you're interested. And of course, tomorrow night on Tony Fett's channel, Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. So come check that out.
Cool.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everyone, for watching live, and everyone who will watch in the future. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your time coming by. And again, thank you, Matt, Mr. Comics 89, for coming by. It's been a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Comics making her appearance.
Comics making her appearance in the Superman garb.
So
excellent.
Awesome.
So everybody,
Mr. Gutsky, I see you in the chat. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah. And everybody have a good weekend. And 2 or 3 weeks we'll be back with another one. So
cool.
Definitely.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care. Have a good night, everyone.